Hello. Today I'd like to explain something that I feel like a lot of developers, when trying to make a game similar to any arena type game or survivor like, find an issue related to performance. And this issue is usually related to the amount of enemies you are trying to spawn on the screen. And I'm gonna show you here an example of just the normal spawning. I'm spawning like 200 enemies per second here. And as you can see, my FPS gets pretty low pretty fast. So that's really bad. But there's a way to make you spawn the same amount of enemies without getting that hit in performance. So as you can see now, I'm getting normal 60 FPS, 70 FPS, and well, I am recording, etc. So, well, what kind of magic is this? This is called object pooling, basically. And it's really simple. I'm gonna try to explain it really fast because there's not much to it. Uh, and also, the project files are going to be on the description, so you can download them to check them yourself. But and there's also a few comments in the project. But here in the enemy spawner, which is what you're going to usually do in a game like this, you're gonna have some sort of cool routine or something like that. That's gonna spawn an X amount of enemies and wait for an X cooldown. And that's basically it. And this thing right here, this instantiate method, this thing is expensive. So that's why you're gonna get a hit on performance. And the other thing is, when you kill an enemy, here on my shuriken projectile, if the enemy is not pulled, as you can see, I'm gonna destroy the enemy. So both creating the enemy and destroying the enemy are very heavy on performance-wise. So that's what you're going to avoid by using pooling. So how do you make it do the same thing with pooling? Well, it's pretty simple actually. As you can see, here I have the enemy spawner settings, and you can ignore this thing for now. By the way, I'm getting the random spawn position outside of the camera view. It's also commented here, so you can check it out if you want. But, well, basically you need an enemy prefab, an enemy amount, and which like enemy amount per cycle, and the cooldown cycle. And in the pooling system, it's gonna be the same thing, like exactly the same thing. The prefab, the enemy amount, and the cooldown between each cycle. The difference is gonna be, you're gonna need two new variables. You're gonna need a list of game objects, which is gonna be the enemy pool, and you're also gonna need an integer, which is gonna determine the size of the pool. So what you're going to do is, you're gonna have to first initialize the pool, which is basically you're gonna instantiate all of the enemies. So as you can see, for pool size, in this case I'm using 500. I'm spawning 500 enemies, and you're gonna get the in here and get the components of it and setting the enemy information for it to be considered pooled, as you can see here, so equals to true. So my shuriken won't destroy it, it will only deactivate it, because, as I said, you don't want to destroy it, because destroying the enemy will make it have a huge toll on the performance. But well, then you're gonna add this enemy that you created, that you instantiated, to the list of game objects of the enemy pool. And you're gonna set the enemy to false. Gonna deactivate the enemy, right? And in the enemy spawn cycle, which is pretty similar to the enemy spawn cycle from a non-pooled system, but in the non-pooled system, you're gonna instantiate the enemy, and in the pooled system, you're gonna get another function that will try to get an enemy from the pool, which is basically a function that will gonna do a for each through every enemy in the pool, and when it finds an enemy that is inactive, it's gonna set it to active, and that's basically it. So you won't be like creating and destroying enemy. You're gonna be activating and deactivating enemies. And this is basically it. This is enough for you to just get like, I don't know how many more performance. As you can see in here, I'm using the non-pulled version, so my FPS is pretty terrible, 20 FPS. And in here, I'm gonna go with the pull version, and you're going to get like steadily 70 FPS. And this is like in the editor, and without a lot of performance techniques that you can use to do something even better. So that's basically it for object pooling. If you need any help, you can contact me on Discord. You can also download this project, as I said, on the description below. And that's gonna be basically it. Enemy pooling is way easier than a lot of people make it sound like. So thank you for watching, and I hope you understood a little about it. And if you have any questions, just send them, just comment on the YouTube or DM me on Discord, anything really. I just wanted to show you guys how easy it is to implement enemy pooling and how good it is for your games. So thank you and bye.